So the way I've always seen it is that production is the when, and then the product is defines the what and the why, and then you got to put these two together. But I can speak from my experience. I've gone into a few game companies where product didn't really exist before, and production would wear all these multiple hats on their head, and so the idea of product and production was to split that apart. What was your experience with kind of
Yeah,
production
I
and
mean, I've had quite a similar experience, but it's kind of the opposite, where product was the producer as well. All right, and so it's very weird. It's exactly what you said, right? Product is specifically known for the why and the what. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? How, like, what problem are we solving? What value is it creating? Whereas production are like the how are we going to make this vision you've got as product, and the when is it going to happen? Which release is it going in, etc., etc. Um, Product and production, I feel like, are both quite many hands in many different pots roles within a company. So your experience obviously was producers were also product managers. I've had the opposite experience where product managers were also producers. And that could be lieu of like they didn't have a producer at the time or they just didn't think they needed a producer, etc., etc. So yeah, my experience is like sometimes you kind of overlap, right? There's always going to be an overlap of what you do. And like with product, like I mentioned, you've got different hands in different pots. Like I'm today I might be product manager slash game designer. Tomorrow I might be product manager slash data analyst. Like there's different ways of doing it. With but there is a significant difference obviously between product and producers. So like for me as a product manager, I might be obsessing over a feature that's going to improve engagement or align with the monetization side of things. But then my counterpart and the producer, like, who you tend to work with very closely, they're literally like your twin. You're always talking to them. You're literally best friends. You have to be
hmm
best friends. You're forced to be best
yeah.
friends. And they're going to be figuring out what needs to happen that sprint to make that feature real, right? It's kind of how do a weird analogy I can kind of think of is just like we're like co-pilots. So like I'm flying the plane and going, hey, I think we should go to I don't know Germany today because
That
there's a
way.
cool opportunity. Let's go that way. I think there's a cool opportunity that way. I'm pointing in one direction and going, hey, that looks fun. There's some opportunity there. Let's go there. And then the production co-pilot is like, okay, let's make sure we get there and we don't crash and burn. Like that's their job, right? And I think production and product need to work together very closely. The kind of the magic happens when you work together, like not when you're siloed separately and not when one person is doing it, right? If a producer is being a product manager, their mindset is more producer focused, right? So they're going to have something they make, but it could be soulless or it could just not have the flair that a product manager could bring. But then it's the complete opposite as well. It's like if a product manager is acting as producer, you risk a whole mess of things happening because you don't know how to actively work properly as a producer. So it's a balance, right? Like it is you have yourself as a product and then you have your counterpart in production and you two are literally one entity that you need to fight your way together and get through things together. And I think that's really important.
It's almost as if the what and the when, you can't deal with both those things at the same time. Like you
No,
need to
definitely
split
not.
them into their own kind of
Yeah,
logical
I mean,
thinkings
like,
and
I
reasons.
mean, like, for me personally, like, I've recently experienced when a producer left the company and moved on to do better things with their life. Good for them.
Yes.
I had to go from being a product manager to then a producer, but I couldn't. Like, in all honesty, I couldn't fixate my time on both together. Like, I had to focus on one or the other at the time. So then, focusing on just being a producer to help out the team whilst we get a replacement sorted was like a big thing. And so, you can't definitely do both because I can't think of like the whys and the whats at the same time and then going, okay, this is the why and the what, and then have to think about the when at the same time. It was always it had to be one or the other. And luckily we had a whole plan in place and it was all fine. But it's just one of those things that you can't do both at the same time for sure.
I completely echo that. I mean, my producer basically, I tell him like, these are all the things I'd love to do, and then I'd be like, okay, great, this is what we actually can do. And then he's fantastic because he always relays the decision back to me, which is great because I think in the decision making you can own it and you can explain that why and spend the time kind of getting that buy-in from stakeholders and really giving the reason. But he's just become so essential for me because it makes me feel that we're on course, that we're doing things on track, that he can explain to me if there are any issues that are going to happen in the future. He always gives me his recommendation, which I end up
Yeah,
very often leaning on.
taking. Yeah,
So I
exactly.
don't know what I would do without kind of
Oh no,
my
same,
producer on my team.
same. Because
Genuinely.
I'm fully just like, hey, we've got this idea, let's just put it in a release. And I'm like, that's it. We don't have to do anything more than that. I told you it needs to go in the release, it's going in the release. And then it's just like, producer goes, Roo, calm the hell down. Like, come on. Like,
He's like
we
the
need to
parent,
figure out.
right?
Yeah, exactly. They're like my therapist essentially, and they just go, okay, no, calm down. We need to do this, this, and this first. And I'm like, oh, okay, didn't think about that.
It's
So yeah, you rely on production a lot because they are the people that help you deliver what you want, right? And so you need to take their recommendations into account. You can't just go, no, I'm not going to listen to you.
100%.